Hello students, welcome to session 5 of soil. In today's session, students, we are going to discuss about different types of soil. In the previous sessions, we discussed about the composition of soil, factors affecting the soil formation, soil profile, and we also discussed about the properties of soil, right? So in today's session, we will discuss about types of soil. So let us start with today's interesting session and learn about it. Now students, before discussing about types of soil, we need to get familiar with a term called texture. Students, the difference in particle size of the various soil constituents gives rise to a property called texture. Now, as we discussed that the composition of soil is a mixture of different things, same way, different types of soil, its properties is dependent upon this texture, color, size, shape, etc. Not the shape, but size of particles, right? So the difference in particle size of various soil constituents gives rise to a property called texture. And because of this property, we are able to know that what type of soil is present and what are the favorable conditions of some of the crops which can grow in a particular type of soil. So, the easiest way to identify the type of soil is to take some in our fingers, wet it and roll it between our fingers. What will happen? That if it is very gritty and a pale brownish color appears, then it is sandy soil. If it polishes, that is, it makes a shiny smooth coating on your fingers, and if it is grayish brown in color, then it is clay. And if it is crumbly and dark but not especially gritty or smooth and shiny, then it is loamy soil. So the easiest way to identify the type of soil is to take some in your fingers, wet it and roll it between your fingers, and if these properties or if these type of things occur, then we can determine whether it is sandy, clay or loamy soil. So students, based on the proportion of sand, silt, clay and humus present in the soil, soil can be of 3 different types, that is sandy, clayey and loamy. So the differences between sandy, clayey and loamy soil are that the first one which we are going to discuss here is sandy soil. Now students, more than 2/3 of sandy soil is sand and about 1/10 is clay. Always remember that sandy soils have a gritty texture. Now here you can see a rough and gritty texture. You can see in the picture and you can identify it. So try to judge this type of soil. It has a gritty texture, and sandy soils are formed from weathered rocks such as limestone, quartz, granite and shale. And if sandy soil contains enough organic matter, it is easy to cultivate. However, it is prone to overdraining and summer dehydration, and in wet weather it can have problem retaining moisture and nutrients. So sandy soil is mainly or mostly it is more than 2/3 of sand and about 1/10 is clay present in it. The other characteristics are that it is made up of large particles with large air spaces, and the porosity of this soil prevents retention of water, so it dries up very easily, as we saw in the image that it dries up very easily. It is a dried one and it has a gritty texture, and it is well suited for fruit and vegetable cultivation. So one such plant, or we can say that lawn grass species are the one which grows well in sandy soil. So these characteristics are the favorable conditions for lawn grass species. Alright? Okay. Now let us discuss about other type of soil. Yes, clay soil. Students, more than 2/3 of clay soil is clay. That is why it is named as clay soil. And it is made up of fine particles with small air spaces. Now here you can see the beautiful picture of clay soil. So students, basically it is made up of fine particles with small air spaces. Remember that when clay soils are wet, they are very sticky, they are very lumpy. But when they dry, they form rock hard clots, like here you can see in this picture. So this is a picture of the clay soil which has become very dry, and that is why it has formed rock hard clots. So clay soils are composed of very fine particles with few air spaces, thus they are hard to work and often drain poorly. They are also prone to water logging in spring season. And you will be very amazed to know that blue or grey clays have poor aeration and must be loosened in order to support healthy growth of plants. So red color in clay soil indicates good aeration and a loose soil that drains well, as clay contains high nutrient levels and plants grow well if drainage is adequate. Other characteristics of this soil is that this soil retains moisture and it becomes very sticky when wet, as we discussed, and dry clay soil becomes hard and forms deep cracks, as we saw in the picture. To improve this soil, chalk can be added to this soil. In the example are the herbaceous plant. Herbaceous plants, shrubs, and different types of trees grow in this type of soil. Besides these two types of soil, there is third type of soil called loamy soil. Now in loamy soil, it consists of sand and silt in equal amounts, that is about 2/5 each. So there is 2/5 of sand and 2/5 of silt, and then this makes up the loamy soil. Here you can see the beautiful picture of loamy soil. It is considered to be the perfect soil because loamy soils are a combination of roughly sand, silt, and somewhat of clay. But loamy soils can range from easily workable fertile soils which are full of organic matter to densely packed sod. So characteristically, they drain well yet retain moisture, and they are nutrient rich, making them ideal for cultivation of most of the plants. So most plants will grow in loamy soil. And other characteristics of loamy soil is that 1/5 of loamy soil is clay, and it has high humus content. It is porous and also holds moisture, and it is good for cultivation of crops and gardening because it is considered to be the rich in nutrients. So the plants which grow here are the berry plants, green, wild flower plants, etc. Right? So these are some of the examples which grow in the loamy soil. Examples of plants which grow in the loamy soil. Right? So that was all about the types of soil. Now let us discuss about one more interesting topic, which is soil suitability for crops. Now this topic means that we will discuss about some of the crops for which soil is suitable in various ways. There are many conditions because of which the soil suits to crops. Not all crops can grow in one type of soil, and not all the types of soil can be favorable for all the types of crops. So, a soil which is suitable for growing crops has to be fertile. This is the first condition of suitability for crops. So soil fertility basically refers to the capacity of the soil to provide nutrients in adequate amounts, means in required amounts, and in proper balance for the growth and development of plants. So for a soil to be fertile, other growth factors such as light, moisture and temperature should also be favorable. Should also have to be favorable. So remember that different types of soils are found in different parts of India. In some parts there is clay soil, in some parts there is loamy soil, while in some other parts there is sandy soil. And soil is affected by wind, rainfall, temperature, light, humidity, etc. factors. So these are some important climatic factors which affect the soil profile and bring changes in the soil structure. So the climatic factors as well as the components of soil determines the various types of vegetation and crops that might grow in any region. So the clay soil and loamy soils are both suitable for growing cereals like wheat or gram, various type of grams. So such soils are good at retaining water. For paddy, soils rich in clay and organic matter and having a good capacity to retain water are ideal. For lentils, which is like masoor dal, in Hindi we call it as masoor ki dal. For lentils and other pulses, loamy soils which drain water easily are required. For cotton, sandy loam or loam which drains water easily and can hold plenty of air are more suitable. So crops such as wheat are grown in the fine clay soils because they are rich in humus and very fertile. So we can find out many such types of soils and crops which are grown in our area. And we can come to know that which kind of soil would be the most suitable for planting different types of crops and which is the soil with a higher or lower rate of percolation. Right? So, to make or for a soil to be fertile, there are many factors on which the crops grow, for which the conditions are favorable for particular type of crop. So to make a soil more fertile, some adjustments are to be done to its property, and these adjustments are alteration of pH, alteration of air content or aeration, and addition of fertilizers. There are other adjustments too, but we are only discussing some of them. Other adjustments would be discussed in the higher grades. So students, acidity or alkalinity affects the ability of plant roots to take up minerals from the soil. And a fertile soil should have somewhat neutral pH. pH means the concentration of hydrogen ions. So a fertile soil should have somewhat neutral pH, because acidity or alkalinity affects the ability of plant roots to take up minerals from the soil. And that defines the fertility of soil. The neutral pH defines the fertility of soil. So the adjustments which we can do to make the soil fertile is that we can add lime, calcium carbonate, which is also termed as calcium carbonate. We can add this lime or calcium carbonate to acidic soils to raise its pH. Means we can make the soil more alkaline. Then, to make soil more acidic, we can add peat to alkaline soils to lower the pH. So soil will become more acidic. So in this way, we can make soil more alkaline or more acidic. And crops which can grow in more alkalinity, with more alkalinity, will grow in such soils, and the crops which grow with more acidity will grow in these type of soils. So students, soils with low air content have high water content, and so they are very heavy and difficult to work. It can be improved, so this adjustment can also be done. Like it can be improved by drainage of water from the soil of a given area, and also by plowing. Then we can also add fertilizers to the soil which has low mineral content such as nitrate, phosphate, potassium and magnesium. So in this way, we can do some adjustments to make a soil more fertile. Like we discussed, alteration of pH by making it more alkaline or making it more acidic. Then alteration of air content, that is aeration, and by addition of fertilizers. So whichever soil will have low mineral content, the fertilizers which has high mineral content, that means the fertilizers which makes the soil available with nitrate, phosphate, potassium and magnesium, can be added to the soil, and we can make soil more fertile. So in this way, we can say that we can grow many types of crops for which many favorable conditions are kept to be in mind, and the soil can be suitable for such type of crops by making some adjustments. Right? So always remember that soil fertility is the capacity of the soil to provide nutrients in adequate amounts and in proper balance for the growth of plants. And that's why many crops and many plants can grow according to its suitability with the type of soil. So that was all about the soil suitability for crops. We will meet in the next session with some more important topic of soil. I hope you liked today's session. So see you in the next session. Take care and enjoy.